Hi, good evening. My name is Teresa Yanjo. I am Community Engagement and Member Engagement at Haven. Thank you for joining us tonight and welcome to the webinar, Essential Tools for Life's Changes. This is brought to you by Haven and Ferro and Battey, LLC. We put this together because so many women are currently in some type of transition, loss of job, caring for a sick family member, working and supervising e-learning, relationship challenges, and the rest. So we just wanted to provide a toolkit and a support network to help.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Runa. I have Jasmine Silver on the panel as well. We're part of ConnecTalent. We're a Fairfield County-based recruiting firm focused on female talent and work-life balance. We work with employers, looking for part-time, full-time flex, project-based, contract-based, and all industries. I think, as everyone said in this so far, it's been a really difficult, challenging time navigating through COVID. We've had a lot of candidates join our database as a result of furloughs, layoffs, job loss of their spouses, and then what Courtney mentioned, a huge workforce stepping back to take care of their children. And we also help those return to work mothers. So we expect that that's going to be a big population in the coming years. One thing we always tell all of our candidates is to stay relevant. You try to stay relevant. If you're navigating, trying to get back into the workforce, the best thing you can do for yourself is network. Network is key. You have to be your own advocate, and think not only about your professional network, but your personal network as well. If you are on the PTA board, you have that entire network of parents to tap into. If you have kids in sports, that's another network to tap into. So it's not necessarily all your LinkedIn professional networks, but tap into any personal networks as well. We always have these conversations with our candidates. Have the confidence to get out there, to just meet as many people as you possibly can, because you never know who you're going to run across and what job might come up for you in the future. A couple of tips that are really specific, in terms of resume LinkedIn. For LinkedIn, make sure, we've seen it a lot of times, there's discrepancies between resumes and your LinkedIn profile. Fix that. Recruiters notice it. If you have a very general description about what you do, make it more specific. So for example, if you're a business development person, don't just say business development looking for new opportunities, be very specific. Are you looking in the financial services sector? A couple of other things, make sure you have a recent photo up on your LinkedIn. I am guilty of skipping people who don't have photos. I just think it just puts that personal touch. And then, a couple of other things on the resume before Jasmine talks on some resume tips is what we've noticed are a lot of beautiful resumes that come through that are 2 columns. They're gorgeous. They are great for headhunters, but not good for applicant tracking system, which is what you're typically going to put your resume through if you're not working with a headhunter. So if you're working through Indeed, if you're working through a company's website and they're using ATS, there's a very good chance your columns don't get recognized through the system and you get lost in the shuffle. So it's just a good practice to have one of each, like one that you would want to present to a headhunter, one that you would present if you were submitting through a system. And on that note, I'm going to pass it over to Jasmine, who's going to give a little bit more tips on the resume itself and some interviewing tips in this COVID environment.
Thank you, Runa. And thank you everybody for having me tonight speaking. I'm Jasmine Silver, the other co-founder of ConnecTalent, the local recruiting company focused on female talent and flex work. And Runa and I really enjoy helping moms like us find work. That's really kind of been that's really been our platform from the beginning. And it's even more fulfilling doing it now during these challenging times. COVID has, of course, affected us you know, like everybody else, whether it's having our children home, having to homeschool, not having as much time to work, or having to work late into the night, or having our spouses home and losing our office space. And of course, on a, you know, on the business front, jobs certainly aren't as plentiful as they once were. Hiring took a bit of a hit during COVID, but we're still getting jobs, and we're still, you know, sending people on interviews. So whatever the reason is, now is a good time to get your resume in order and get back into interviewing shape. And hopefully the opportunities just keep coming. So I wanted to give everyone our top 3 resume tips and then our top 3 interviewing tips. For resume, I'd say number 1, as just a general rule, eliminate dates before 2000. That doesn't mean eliminate your educational background or relevant experience. It just means take the dates away if they're before 2000, so the hiring manager doesn't, you know, have any cause for discrimination or to just think, oh, this experience is so dated, and move your resume along. Another tip that we like to recommend to candidates is to really focus and target your resume to the industry or job that you're applying for. And I know it can be difficult if you don't know exactly what you're looking for and you have a lot of kind of diverse experience. It's better to have a few different resumes that are all targeted rather than one omnibus resume that, you know, tells all the different things you've done in the past few years. So really targeting and focusing your resume to the job is a great recommendation. And our last one is, if you've had a career break, what we try and recommend candidates do is fill in that career break on their resume, whether it's, you know, a part-time consulting role that you had for even a family member, or volunteer work for your children's school. If you can find something that you've done in your past that's somewhat relevant to what you're applying for, put it in your resume and help fill that gap. And so then when employers look at it, they don't see a huge gap. They see that you have some experience. A quick example is if you're applying for an administrative role, let's say, you don't want to just have a big break and it looks like, you know, you've done nothing for however many years, because we all know that's not the case. But let's say the role requires organization and people skills. Maybe you want to then highlight, you know, if you were planning a recent fundraiser for a school, you solicited donations and managed the budget and organized documents, drafted emails, led meetings, things like that. Detail like that can really be helpful to certain roles. And finally, our top 3 tips for interviewing, since most interviews are now moved to Zoom and probably will be for a while in the future. Our number 1 tip is prepare for the interview like it's an in-person interview. From your head to toe outfit, to printing out your resume and having it next to you, to having a pad of paper next to you to take notes. Just prepare like it's actually an in-person interview. Another quick tip is to remain engaged with the interviewer. Even if you're taking notes, make sure to nod your head, make sure to do your best to kind of have eye contact as best as you can through a screen, and just stay engaged with the interviewer. And finally, well in advance of the interview, just make sure that your lighting is good, your background is neutral, your internet connection is solid, which I had some issues with tonight, and make sure that you're in a quiet space. And having all of those distractions kind of taken care of beforehand can really go a long way to helping your confidence when it comes to a Zoom interview. So again, whatever your situation is, however, whatever reason you may be looking for a new job, now is a good time to get your resume in order and get back in interview shape, and ConnecTalent is here to help you.